Well, 2014 is coming to a close this week. As we head into the new year, we're checking in with a financial expert to see how the year shaped up. Nick Scheumann with Hefty Wealth Partners is here to talk with us about that. It was another year full of action this year. Can you give us an overview?
Sure. Action's probably a good word to describe it. There were a lot of things that were going on in 2014. We knew it was going to be a volatile year. I'd been on earlier. We talked about midterm elections usually leads to volatility in the markets, but we still saw the U.S. markets in 2014 push to new highs, and there were some periods there where you could get anxious because the markets did have a downturn or two, but ultimately they've been able to push forward and go higher. People haven't really experienced that perfectly in their portfolios because there's other aspects to a well-diversified portfolio that didn't do well, and it's kind of in the background. Foreign markets haven't done well. We've heard a lot about the trouble in Russia and Japan this year. We've had small and mid-cap stocks not do very well. Commodity prices didn't fare very well in 2014. But probably the biggest winner in 2014 is all of us, and it's simply because the United States economy grew. And that is huge news. We hoped in the third quarter, we hoped to see a 3% increase in GDP. Well, we got 5%. So that's tremendous. And really, I think it's going to set us up, not even just for 2015, which is what we're looking at today, but for even sustainability beyond that, which is good.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
What do you foresee happening next year? How do you think that things are going to change?
Yeah, you know, I've said this before, it's a new era of investing. So the volatility and the unpredictability is not going to change, but what we will start to see next year is some negative headlines start to creep back up, and it depends on what people focus on. I think my advice to people would be to focus on the positive. We had a really good 2014. We have seen gas prices drop, which is going to be good for the economy. There's been growth in jobs. Consumer sentiment is going up. Companies are spending money not just on employment, but they're spending money on capital. There's a lot of good improvements, but we're going to see still some negative headlines about geopolitical things or maybe even interest rates, some scares for that. And I think people should just stay focused and try to remember the positive things that we had in 2014 and what we're looking at, not just in 15, but beyond that too.
Now, you briefly mentioned the rates last time you were on in November. What can you tell us now about those? Yeah,
it's always nice to get into specifics. Can't say specifically when they're going up.
Okay.
No one knows that. There's not a single person out there that knows that. We don't know how much they're going to increase or when they're going to increase. But I can say that they are going to go up. We stopped the printing presses in the third quarter of this year. That's the first step to raising interest rates. And that's what when I talk about a new era of investing, we saw even in 2014, interest rates still dropped, which was amazing. No one really expected that. They expected them to go up. And eventually, we've been seeing this for 30 years, a drop. We're going to see that turn around. They're going to start to go back up. So that's what we're going to see with interest rates. And I think what I can specifically talk about, and people should be prepared for, is a teasing of it. Someone's going to come out and say, interest rates are going up by this much, maybe 0.5%. And the markets are going to react negatively to that. Okay. We can't get too scared because eventually the Federal Reserve will come out. They'll probably say something like, we did raise interest rates, but they're only by 0.25%. And the markets will, oh, geez, that's not so bad. Breathe a sigh of relief, and we'll see them rally again. And we're going to, I think, experience that a couple times because of the type of interest rate environment that we're in.
Nick, great to have you in. Thanks for the
update.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is great.
Happy New Year. We'll be right back.